Okay, so Alexa, tell me, what were your biggest struggles before coming on board the Fit Queen program?
I would probably say being far too controlling over what I ate and thinking that calories were everything. And the more I restricted my calories, the more results I would see. And it just doesn't work. It meant that I didn't have the energy to go and do any exercise. I didn't have the energy to go and do anything because I was so focused on eat as little as possible and see results, but it's just not sustainable.
Okay, so eat as little as possible, see some initial results, but
Mhm.
then what would happen?
Then I just put the weight back on again.
Okay, so
And
it's
then I'd get
constant.
really frustrated and then go back into the cycle all over again.
Yeah, okay. And what made you decide that you wanted to make a change?
I think I just got to the point where I was just really fed up of being in the same cycle, and it was probably a part of my life that I didn't feel in control of.
Yeah.
So everything else I can manage and I can put actions in place and I can get to the end result. But this was just something where I was just in this circle and I was just fed up of being in a circle.
Mm.
And I kind of everything else in my life was going really well. And I just wanted that confidence of like feeling feeling like I wanted to feel and feeling like I could put whatever I want on. And I've still got a journey to make, but I'm definitely making progress.
Which is amazing. And tell me about your relationship with food and calories now.
Oh, it doesn't control me at all. And in fact, interestingly, so when I ran the marathon a couple of weeks ago, I really struggled with the amount that I had to eat before I
Mhm.
did the marathon because I'm not heavily focused on eating carbs, and I understand that they have a really important part to play in exercise, and I've got a really good balance with that now. But having to really load them to run a marathon was a real struggle, and probably back to where I was when I first started this journey. And I remember Lou putting together a food plan for me, and I was eating 5 times a day, and I was like, I can't eat 5 times a day. And now I'm starving, that I eat everything that's put in front of me and I
Yeah.
don't feel guilty about any of it. I go out for dinner and it's fine that I don't feel guilty when I make a choice that might not be the best in a restaurant, but usually it is. I feel much more in control of the choices that I am making.
Yeah, and when you don't have a great relationship with food, or you're obsessing over calories, it can take over your life,
Mm,
can't it? And
definitely.
your job as well. Tell me a little bit about your job, because you're in a senior role, and being exhausted because you've underfueled with calories just wasn't working, was it, to
No,
show up for your work at the same time?
no, not at all. And I'm on the go all the time, which is where it's really now I've got this that I'm in control of what I'm eating. It's just natural now rather than having to really think about what I'm doing or eating on the go and buying a sandwich in a shop because I'm in and out all the time. I spend a lot of my day in the car or in between shops. So unless I really if I plan, it's absolutely fine. If I can't plan, then I can make a good choice because I've got that knowledge.
Yes. And you have to be realistic over that. It's not realistic to expect that you can prep everything 7 days a week, all your meals. Like, we have to incorporate on the go options, and it's having that healthy balance in
Yeah.
between. So throughout this journey, how do you feel it's affected your body, how you're feeling?
I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm like what 3 months into my journey now, and I've got another kind of 9 months working with you. But I am much more confident than I was. I can see the progress and I can see it happening and maintaining it and then continuing rather than I'd have given up again by now if I was in my controlled let me eat 800 calories a day and I'll see the results for a couple of months and then I'll go back again and then I'll start it all over again. So yeah, much more confident, much more like I'm seeing where I want to get to. That I've got rid of half my wardrobe, which is always lovely. Like buying different things that I
Yeah,
wouldn't have bought before.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, much more confident.
And is there anything about the experience so far? Like, have you learned anything new about yourself from going through this experience so far?
Um, so not in terms of kind of yes, in a way. So I didn't realize just how positive I am. That
Yeah.
I really didn't realize how positive I am, or just kind of how much. So I take a leap on things that probably most people wouldn't, but I think it's quite normal. So the couple of things that I've done this year, when I did the Sahara Trek, when I did the marathon, I was not in any place to be doing those things. Probably 5 or 6 months ago when I signed up to them, but it didn't stop me from doing it. But I didn't think that was unusual. And just like Lou's constantly telling me how positive I am, and I hadn't really noticed it. It's just what I'm like.
And such a beautiful part of your personality. And for so many people, the thought of signing up for what you have this year, yeah, you are right. It would be terrifying. But we only grow when we step out of that comfort circle, and taking on performance related challenges, fitness related challenges. They are so rewarding. Like that feeling. Tell me about that feeling when you got over the finish line.
Oh, it was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
so the Sahara I did first and was incredible. And just the fact that I'd managed to do that was an incredible experience. But the marathon, that I'd set myself different targets throughout. So when I first signed up to it, all I wanted to do was cross the finish line. Didn't care how long it took me. That's all I wanted to do. And then I changed it, and it wasn't that I wanted to cross the finish line. I wanted to cross the finish line before they moved the finish line, because I wanted to finish on the Mall and not in St James's Park, because to me that's quite iconic. And then as I was going through it, at one point I was on track to do it in 5.25 hours, which might sound like quite slow to some people, but I was like going for 8 hours, and I wanted to do it before the finish line moves. And then I did it in 6.5 hours, and I think I amazed myself that I'd done it in that time to start with.
Yes.
And it was an incredible feeling. I walked the last 2 miles of it with somebody that was about to give up at mile 24. I'm like, you can't give up.
No.
You've done 24 miles. And I would have hoped that somebody else would have done that for me.
And that is the most beautiful part of exercise and inclusive-ness in a race like that, like being able to be someone's rock, see that positive person being like what a magical feeling. And also you've been inspired enough to sign up again for next year.
I know, and so next year I've signed up to do to climb Mount Toubkal, which is in Morocco, not the one that I was going to do. So I was going to do the Alps, but I really want to do the marathon again, and I've entered the ballot for the marathon. If I don't get through the ballot, I want to fundraise again, and I couldn't justify doing the Alps and the marathon because it's £5,500 to fundraise. It's a lot to do, whereas Mount Toubkal is a lower fundraising target. So yeah, both of those next year.
Yeah, and anyone watching this, please keep your eyes out. We'd love your donations. They will be very much appreciated. So, Alexa, you're going to be great at this, helping people get to the finish line. But say if somebody's listening in today and they're in the same position as you, perhaps they do have a senior role and are a parent as well and not feeling 100%. What would be your advice to them? Because sometimes it is really scary to take action, ask for help. What would you tell them?
I think reflecting now would be to trust in the process, because I think that's probably where I was at the beginning, in that tried so many different things that why is this one going to be any different?
Yeah.
And I think really put your trust in the process, and I think really be open with whoever your coach is. Because I think I've never met Lee apart from on a screen, but we've developed a really good relationship just through being really open. And there's nothing that I wouldn't tell her when I fill in my feedback forms. Sometimes I think she'll look at them and be like, why are you telling me this? But that's just, if she doesn't know all of it, she's not going to know how to then advise me. And she's probably one of my biggest cheerleaders. And it was really weird. So after I'd done the marathon, I had a bit of a lull for a couple of weeks where I was sore. I was like having a bit of a struggle getting back into my stride again. And I hadn't really said anything to her. And she sent me a message one day where I knew it was like she could just sense that it just wasn't quite where I needed to be.
Yeah.
So I think it is trust in the process and be as open as you possibly can, because you're only going to get the results by being really honest about where you're at and how you feel, and be vulnerable, because if you're not going to be vulnerable, again, you're not going to get what you need.
Yeah, we have to, what I like to say, peel back the onion and find out what's really going on, because everything is so interconnected in regards to our relationship with food and whether we are going to show up for exercise and how we feel about our body. So being able to build that partnership and have that wing woman in place is essential. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really celebrating you, and I said this to you in a one-to-one message, but so super proud of you for stepping into the unknown and just putting yourself first in some degree and doing this. And yeah, it's been so lovely to partner with you and work with you up to this point. So super excited for the remaining 9 months to go as well, because there's so much more to come from you.
Thank you.
How does 10 minutes